Hi, my name's Lang. I'm a Catchment Restoration Officer for the North Central Catchment Management Authority. I work on the Tullaroop Restoration Project. This has been sort of an ongoing project as part of what was the Birch's Creek project to start with. It's now become the Tullaroop Integrated Catchment Project. We started work here about 5 years ago to fence off the waterway to offer a bit of protection to it from the stock on the paddocks. Birch's Creek, it starts at the Dean Reservoir, flows into the Tullaroop Reservoir. It's about 22 kilometres long, and then it flows down to the confluence of Creswick Creek and Tullaroop Creek, and then it becomes Tullaroop Creek from there on. Flows down into towards Carisbrook. So it's really important to try and protect that whole of catchment above that storage, because all of the water that flows into it is used as drinking water for Maryborough. So with any project like this, it's quite a large project. So we work with a number of different project partners. Central Highlands Water, the Wurrung, Golden Murray Water are all involved. The original purpose of the Birch's Creek project was to improve the water quality for the river blackfish and the platypus that exist in the waterway. Now, having almost completed all of the work along Birch's Creek, we decided to extend that out into the whole of the Tullaroop catchment. The aim of the project obviously is to improve and protect water quality in the catchment. So we're looking at riparian fencing, weed control, off-stream watering and revegetation.
Hello, my name's Ron Cosgrave. I'm a long-time person in this area and lived here all my life. I'm a small farmer, and I have the privilege of having this beautiful creek, Birch's Creek, flow through the middle of my property. It's been a marvellous asset and a wonderful place to be and spend a lot of time at. We used to have a dairy farm here, and as a young lad I used to look down upon this pool of water and be able to see fish jumping of an evening whilst my brother and father milked the cows. But over the years, the creek has gone to weed and ruins and lack of attention. And I can remember the cows struggling to get home through the creek years ago, through Gore's hedge. The next problem came with willow trees. Where we stand now, this pool of water ranges over about a distance of 200 metres or so. And I soon found in the mid-80s that pool of water had about 6 different water levels due to the willow trees. When we'd have heavy rain and flood water, the channel of the creek couldn't handle the flood water, and the willow trees would push the water out actually in this spot and flow through behind me, and was creating a problem there which would eventually become a second creek. So we commenced work on the willow trees and removed willows from this area, and without a word of a lie, you could not see the other side of the creek for willow trees in this position that we stand in. Up until now, with some assistance from the North Central Catchment Management Authority, we've been able to do a lot of work in the last 3 or 4 years, and the creek has cleaned up terrifically. I'd say 90% of my creek frontage now is all fenced off. Stock are excluded. We've got new growth of bottlebrush growing, and there's plenty of other evidence of the native bottlebrush growing back along the creek. We've had more platypus in the creek than I can ever remember seeing, and I've done a lot of lobbying with different organisations, and we got some environmental flows to get down here. But with all the willows using up the water on the way, it was a bit of a struggle. Your line of land care over the years has done an enormous amount of work on Birch's Creek through small grants and other land care grants that were available at the times, and some of the achievements are fantastic. Over the last several years, I've managed to fence off the frontages to nearly 90% of my creek. Prior to that, I'd grazed to the water's edge, and since I've fenced the creek off, I've seen an enormous amount of regrowth of native plants. It's provided a lot of habitat for birds and wildlife. The birds that we have along this creek now is phenomenal. I never used to see once upon a time. So the fencing, to me, in my mind, I sort of might have been reluctant years ago, but now it's one of my top recommendations to anybody that has a frontage to a water. I think one of the favourite sayings of environmentally minded landowners that they want to leave their land in a better condition than what it was before they done some work with it. And I'm immensely proud of the work that I've done. And I do know that my kids will follow on with what's been done. The other point I'd make with fencing off the creek was I was a bit worried about the availability of water to my livestock. Well, now I've got a nice trough system set up on both sides of the creek, which eliminates the cattle wanting to get to the water. I still need to cross the creek with cattle because of the way the place is set up, and that's restricted to 2 places along the creek, and I manage those spots very well where they cross, and they have no access other than when I want them to cross. So everything's looking good into the future.